What's up? Yo, what's up everybody? Did you miss me? I'm back with another breakdown of MTV's The Challenge War of the Worlds 2, episode 10. Let's get into the episode. It was a jam-packed episode. Start off with Turbo going turbo mode. Cannot control himself. Needed multiple security guards to hold him back. I feel kind of bad for Turbo in this situation. I feel like he's very confused. Obviously, he is furious, but I don't know if they're for the right reasons. Jordan copied his walk. You do not copy his walk in Turbo's culture, I suppose. Basically the same thing as making fun of somebody's mom in our culture, maybe. But yeah, he took that very serious. Do not copy Turbo's walk. Everybody gets into it here at the beginning of the episode. Nani and Ashley, Turbo and Jordan. Not CT though. CT's enjoying his night. I'm not really mad at Ashley for this. Obviously she was trying to stir the pot, but at the same time she was spreading the truth. She didn't really lie to Turbo when she told Turbo that Jordan was calling him weak and the weakest player on the team and all that. So I don't really blame Ashley for Turbo's outburst. I blame Turbo for Turbo's outburst. You know, somebody would have told Turbo eventually, probably. It's the challenge house. Nothing is kept secret. So Turbo ends up getting sent to a hotel to stay the night there because he is too much of a danger to the house. And he eventually gets sent home, as we all see. So what do you guys think of that punishment? This was his second warning, and he looked pretty crazy in the challenge house, not gonna lie. And do you think this is the last we have seen of Turbo? I don't know if Turbo does not thrive in this environment. He did last season, but in this team format, or I don't know, people messed with him this time because they knew him. He just couldn't handle it, and I don't think he fits in this type of environment. Turbo's like the uncivilized version of Landon. We see Leroy pivoting to, you know, Paulie's alliance, Cara and Paulie's alliance this episode. He's almost betraying everything he's known to try to get this first challenge win under his belt. So he's like, hey, I got an easy ticket with Paulie and Cara. I'm gonna take it, you know? This is self-preservation, as he kept saying. Kind of compared to like an NBA veteran, or maybe from other sports as well, but just like an NBA veteran who takes the veteran's minimum for his salary, joins a championship team because he hasn't won one yet, even though he's good enough to win one, and then he's like a role player on a championship team. That's what Leroy's going for. However you can get it, Leroy, just get it. We get to the challenge. It's called Incoming. There's a giant mud pit. The guys and girls play separate, and there's multiple heats within the guys and girls rounds. It starts off as 4v4, so TJ pulls names out of a hat to see who plays from each team, or basically the USA team, because they were the team that had more players. And these four people go head to head in this mud pit. Definitely a headbanger. There's balls in the middle that they have to retrieve, each member, and run past the finish line to advance to the next round. If you don't have a ball, you get eliminated. Once TJ throws that additional ball like Tom Brady right in the middle of the mud pit, then that's the signal to go. Challenge begins, and CT's dad bod is really worrying me. Every season he says he's gonna get in shape for this season, but he doesn't. It seems like he gets in worse and worse shape. I cannot see him winning a final with that body. That body is not made for a final. Round 1, false start, Theo. I saw that. You're the tallest guy here by like a foot. I don't want to see you cheating, especially when it comes to a sprint. Rogan used to play rugby. We get a little background information from him, so this is right up his alley. This is where we will see him thrive and see him succeed, and we did in this episode. Jordan has a good battle with Rogan in the first round, but ends up getting stomped by CT's dad bod. He just lays on him and eventually gets the ball from him. So Jordan gets eliminated the first round, and then they play every other round after that, man down, so it's pretty impossible to win. Leroy ended up going against Jogan, first Jogan sighting, and they didn't disappoint. They won for Team UK on the guys' side. Now it's the girls' side. Georgia outplays Ninja and tackles her, gets her to the ground, and eventually gets the ball from her and steals it and eliminates her. So at that point on, everybody on the girls' side on the Team USA is playing with one less woman than the Team UK team. So numbers advantage again goes to Team UK. This is their chance to win a challenge, and they end up doing so. They win. They choose Kaylee as their tribunal spokesperson. There was a lot of chatter on who would be the spokesperson, but they ended up having to go to a vote again. You know, classic Team UK. End up going to a vote, and Kaylee gets the spokesperson vote. She rounds it out with Jenny, someone who's not in her alliance, just to throw her a bone, and Joss, her best friend, lover forever, soulmate, or whatever they are. We get to the tribunal nominations, and this is where Leroy really chooses game over friendship. He throws Tori in, which is Nani's best friend and closest ally. Leroy doesn't feel like he's doing Nani wrong because he's not saying her name, but he's essentially putting the writing on the wall that, you know, Nani's next if the time comes. Nani has a right to be mad. You know, they have known each other for over 10 years, as they said, and Leroy's choosing the game over her. Leroy hasn't won yet. That probably has something to do with it. He's hungry for that win and seems like he'll do anything, lose friendships at this point, just to get that win under his belt. In my opinion, he overreacts a little bit when he stands up and starts shouting at Nani, telling her she has no reason to be mad. And it's like, Leroy, don't tell her how she should feel. I think Leroy knew he was a little bit in the wrong. Not in the wrong, but just he knew it would make Nani mad. And Leroy was emotional. We saw that. And it takes a lot for Leroy to get up and scream, especially at a woman. I mean, you don't see him scream in general. So he was really emotional. I feel like he got really emotional and started screaming because shows that he actually cares about Nani. He's just, you know, showing it the wrong way, maybe. We'll see where their friendship lies after this episode. I can't imagine it's good. Nani and Car get into a little bit. Seems like they have some deep hatred for each other. Would love to see them as a rivals pair. That would be entertaining, and another chance for Nani to get a win. Car is a beast, so, and she makes it to like every final. Tori, once she realizes she's going in, holds nothing back. Starts threatening every female on her team that voted her, telling them they're going to be sorry and how she can't wait to destroy them in elimination. A lot of confidence from Tori at this point, which I love. We don't see Tori get heated. We get a scene of, you know, Paulie's girls, you know, Kara, Cam, and all them, talking about how they need to get the tribunal to vote in Georgia. And I laughed. Legit, I laughed immediately. Like, what do you mean? They're not gonna vote in their own teammate. They just won for the first time ever, basically on their own, without Team USA throwing the challenge. They're not gonna eliminate themselves. That's ridiculous. But Kaylee gets manipulated, in my opinion here. Gets used and abused. Team USA talks her into voting for her own teammate Georgia, a strong girl on her team, instead of getting somebody off of Team USA, as they have like 4 or 5 more people than Team UK. Completely mind blown that Kaylee isn't able to see what Team USA is doing here. Kaylee, in my opinion, isn't here for the challenge. She is here to make a name for herself, just to get followers and make big moves. You know, I guess it's fine. I prefer spots in the challenge for people who want to make it to the end and win. Kaylee eliminating Georgia doesn't sound like she wants to get to the end and win. Could be wrong. Maybe numbers really do have to do with it here. But I just felt like this was Team USA saving their own ass by using and abusing Kaylee to make a big move, which it was a big move. At the end of the day, Kaylee is playing a great game to make it to the end. She's definitely got the numbers now in her alliance, so I expect to see her in the final. And that's her first final, I believe. We get to the elimination, and this is where we see if the Team USA's plan comes to fruition. We see Jenny vote for Ashley. We see Kaylee vote for Georgia. And what do you know it, Kaylee got in Joss's ear and convinced him to make the decision to vote Georgia. Chaos broke loose once Kaylee voted for Georgia because the writing was on the wall that Joss was going to do so. So we heard a lot of people trying to change Joss's mind. Theo, Georgia. This was just such a surprise. I don't know if it makes much sense. Please let me know what you think in the comments. But we get to the elimination, so it's Georgia versus Tori. The elimination is called Blockbuster. There's a giant wall that has like kind of puzzle pieces or shapes all to form the wall. The pieces, the shapes slide back and forth so you can push them to your opponent's side. And that's what this challenge basically is. Whoever pushes more shapes into their opponent's side wins by the end of the time limit. Best 2 out of 3, and wasn't too much to go over during the elimination. It was a fine elimination, but Tori ends up winning by 1 shape each round, so she 2-0s Georgia, and we get our first turncoat. Who knew it would be Tori? But Tori is on her way to Team UK. Shortly behind her, I'm assuming Jordan, who will probably get voted in regardless next week. And if he wins, then Tori and Jordan are back together on Team UK. Imagine Georgia's mindset in that elimination. They won the challenge, and she gets voted in by her own team. Such a blindside. You only see blindsides like this in Survivor. This was a heavy blindside. But that wraps it up. So long, Georgia. It has been a pleasure. Killer competitor, fierce, and it's a shame to see her get voted in by her own team. Would have liked to see her in another final. It's not gonna happen. But that wraps it up for my breakdown. Please remember, if you liked what you heard and saw, give me a subscribe, press that like button, and write in the comments, send me questions, do whatever you gotta do to keep living. What am I saying anymore? Alright, anyway, peace out.